Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
All right. Hey, guys. Welcome back to our show. I'm your host, John Harkar, here today with Mike Hubbell. And what we're going to talk about, besides his journey in real estate and in business, we're going to talk about debt and some of the mistakes people make. Remember, guys, here at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, kind of all real estate entrepreneurs, 2 to 5x their business. We do that by providing tools and resources to grow the business they want, which in turn helps live the life they wanted to live. So, Mike, welcome back to our show.
It's good. Glad to be on, John. It's a good day today.
Awesome. Well, cool. Looking forward to talking about debt. I know that's a problem with a lot of people. But before we get into all that, why don't you just kind of give our audience a little background on you, your experience in business, real estate, and kind of what got you to today.
Listen, I started out in 95 swinging a hammer and loved the business, worked my way up from being a subcontractor. 2001, jumped into being a GC, did 800 fix and flips over the next 8 years up until the market crash in 2008. We quickly pivoted from being a GC to being an investor, owning our own properties, building our own properties, that kind of thing. Then
Sweet.
Jumped in, worked out, and it just took off for us, right? We go from being $2 million in debt, everybody's going out of business, to just killing it in the market, and became really the largest investor group that was doing the fix and flips on a large scale. So that was, that was a really exciting process, and just kind of working through that. And then we jumped into our own developments in 2013 and rode that wave for the next 5-6 years up until we liquidated our position and just decided to go kind of a different way. And it brings me to where we are today with Lux Living Homes, and we kind of do things a little bit different. And we believe in the motto of, taking care of people and making sure that there are always people out there struggling. Instead of buying distressed assets, we help distressed people. And we help them monitor their stress, whether it's, a gentleman that had cancer and we bought out his portfolio and helped him out and still made him a partner. Or, we had somebody that was, had lost his whole portfolio basically, and we came in and bought a couple of his assets and, made him a partner in our deal and showed him a different way to do it. Listen, recently, a week ago, we had some investors that invested with somebody else in a kind of a unique situation where we, instead of them losing all their money, we brought them into our company and, honored some of the investments that they had made through somebody else. So there's just ways to do things that are unique and creative if you understand all of the aspects of everything you do, from the build side to the equity side to the money raising side to the debt side, all those things.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Combined.
Right. Very cool. Well, I mean, if you listen to any of my podcasts before, we always like to go backwards, right? And I like to get an idea of how people got their start in real estate. And actually, prior to that, was there any influence, people in your life, anybody like that kind of led you to real estate?
My dad was a contractor and my grandpa was a contractor, so maybe that had some definitely influence. I never thought that I would ever be in this business.
Sure. Why not?
But I always knew I was going to be in business. I mean, didn't really enjoy school. I thought it was boring. I could do well. I mean, it came easy.
You enjoy school.
Right. So school wasn't like this thing that I pursued, and while everybody else is going off to college, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. But it was probably a year after we got married, my wife Jill and I, and we're still married today, which is pretty awesome. Dating the same woman.
Congratulations.
5 years, right? Which is a huge
awesome
part of success. Is in anybody that is highly successful, it's typically they have a great team, and that team is typically your wife.
Yeah.
And it grounds you. But we're about a year into being married, and she gets pregnant, we get pregnant, however you want to look at it. And so I was working in the finished carpentry field or cabinetry or things like that, and I was just not happy. And about the time she gets pregnant, I decide I'm going to go out on my own. And
did you feel that you weren't challenged enough by what you were doing and you needed more? I mean, like why weren't you happy doing the finishing and the carpentry?
This is really why. I was at a job and I was the youngest installer, right? Mm-hmm. But I was probably the most well-rounded. And I had a lot of business knowledge, and I had a lot of knowledge on how to treat people and how to take care of people and how to be productive. And I had a manager that did a horrible job that would reward people in an inappropriate way in work, going out with drinks with them, things like that. And then instead of addressing real problems, he would address the whole installer group.
Okay.
And so we were in a meeting one day, and I was just sick of getting yelled at. I don't take it that well, and I'm not that type of person. If you want to yell, go outside and yell to yourself, or whatever. So I just stood up and said, "You know what? We're not going to yell today."
Nice.
I told the manager, I said, "You are inappropriate, and you don't know how to manage people. And there's 4 or 5 people in this room that you need to be taken aside and either firing or teaching them and training them to be what you want them to be." Mm-hmm. So all the things that you're talking about are the same 6 people every time.
Right.
And here you are yelling at all 12 of us or all 15 of us, right? And the next day I went into the owner's office and I said, "Listen, you can fire the manager and put me in his spot, or I'm going to quit." And so I had moved up pretty quickly through the ranks, and they'd put a 22-year-old person in front of me, and it was fine that he was young, but he just didn't know what the hell he was doing. And I was just like, "Listen, I'm not going to do this anymore." So I said, "I'm going to tell you something right now. I promise you that if you don't put me in this spot, you're going to be out of business in 3 to 5 years."
Are they out of business?
They went out of business in 3 to 5 years.
Wow.
And the reason why, the guy that started the business was dedicated and he had all these great qualities.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
But at some point he was getting older and he put his kids in charge.
Okay, I see.
And he kept on promoting family into places of leadership without ever training them to be leaders.
Yeah,
And
that'll kill any business.
It's just a recipe for disaster. It was kind of funny because I find myself like 5 years later, he was working for me.
Get out of here.
Yes.
Wow. So this was in your contracting business?
This was in my contracting business.
What was he doing for you?
Cabinetry
and finishes.
Basically, yeah. I mean, basically, he came on and took care of all of our cabinetry and our.
Oh, that's so cool. That's such a great story right there, man.
Right?
That is so awesome.
I found that all the time. I mean, I've employed my dad. I've employed everybody. So.
That's awesome. So when you got into the construction side or the contracting side and started that business, like what were some of the struggles you had just kind of getting started, or just building your team, those kind of things?
The biggest thing is the biggest lesson I had to learn to the 2000s. First one was don't ever quit. And I think it's the most important one. And even when I'm feeling stressed, even today, just stressed about things, I just have to remind myself, you don't quit. Like you just got to keep going. Tomorrow's going to be a better day. There's always a blessing coming to you at some point. And what you're feeling is a temporary at this point. Doesn't mean tomorrow is not going to be better. There's so many options that can happen. We can wake up tomorrow and bring on a new fund or bring on a new investor or, do whatever we want to do. So there's just a lot of options in life and you can't quit. The second one is you have to lead your company by your values. And our values were hard work, dedication, honesty, and integrity. Don't hire people based on skills. Hire people based on values. And if you hire based on values, they won't steal from you, because that's a big thing in like the contracting world. 2007, I heard 55 employees, and half of them were stealing from you. And people don't really realize how they steal. But if you go to work for somebody and you say that you work 10 hours, but you only work 4, that's theft.
Yeah. 100%.
But it happens all the time. People sit by the water cooler for 45 minutes talking about what they did all weekend long. That's theft.
That's theft.
And honest people don't do that. People with integrity don't do that.
Yeah, 100%. Do you use any type of like hiring tests, like personality tests?
I've used hiring tests. I've used skills tests. I mean, all those things for sure.
Right.
They all matter.
Is it more of a gut thing for you though?
No, it's actually not. There's a really great metric that I learned from the Millionaire Next Door. And it talked about who was millionaires in America. This has been 20 years, and I've used that formula, but they talk about like married to the same woman all their life. So I look for people that have been married and to the same person. They know how to be in relationships, and they know how to be in business. So I hire based on that. I hire based on typically it's a second generation immigrant. So I look for people that are immigrants and came to the United States and want a better life for them and their family. They will typically outwork everybody else. So we just we definitely look around those things just because we think it's really important. It's just doesn't mean everything and anything, no, but you can find out people's work ethic by just knowing who they are and their struggles. And it's not just the immigrant thing. It's more of like what has been your struggle. Like I had a floor guy from was it Vietnam? And he went through that whole mess of, he was a child and having to go through that mess.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
In Vietnam with his family and coming over on a boat. And I mean, it's just crazy to hear his story of in desperation. And then he became a U.S. resident. I mean, it was just like, and when you go through massive adversity and things like that, you just look at life differently.
Yeah.
I had a group of at one point 20 different Russian individuals from Russia or different areas like Ukraine, Russia, and Uzbekistan, and all those kind of things. Once again, their parents came here and they became U.S. residents, and they stuck together too, and that was loyalty.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
these are all things that if you look at what makes people successful, those are things that make people successful. So I hire based on those.
I love it. Okay. So, talking about hiring, what does your team and your business look like today?
Well, our business is a lot different, obviously. I mean, we own property in 4 different states right now. We kind of dabble in the multifamily, single family. We have a new cool, product out there around net zero housing. If you're not familiar with net zero housing, it's homes that produce as much power as they consume. I think it's the most. Everything else is kind of boring. The multifamily play is great. I mean, we're building, properties for young people and just a different twist. Also, with the net zero play around that, energy consumption, basically they don't consume every ounce of energy that's consumed is produced on the site.
Right.
And
that's
so
awesome.
We do that. We do some impact investing around Section 8 housing. We also have some properties up in Michigan around prison housing where people get out of prison and they need help to assimilate back into society. And so we're working on those. And everything that we do is around portfolio management and just knowing the ups and downs of the marketplace that I've had to deal with, which is, I feel like I've been through it all. And,
right.
Even though I feel like I've been through it all, there's things today that I'm like, man, I've never experienced that.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, it sounds like you've done a lot. I mean, of all the things that you're doing, all the different verticals, it sounds like in your business, what kind of is the most for you impactful or most, thing you like to do the best?
You know what? The most thing that I like to do best is I like to raise money. And it's around the debt and equity play. See, it's like, you have to understand, like when people come to you and they want you to, or you go to somebody or vice versa, when they give you money or they invest in money, it's like you've got a friend for life. And so when somebody loans you money, and people get confused on what debt is, because they'll call their debtors, their investors, they all of a sudden have a hook into you. And they can choose to put poison on the hook or they can choose to put food on the hook. Just depends on the day, right?
Right.
And you don't have to do anything in business if you get on the wrong side of a debt player. They can ruin your business and put you out of business.
Right.
And so how do you, in a world full of debt, that we're told that like this is the only way real estate can happen? That's a full-on lie. They're very. I set my first fund up, for example, that raises equity for us for less than $150.
Wow.
And that fund allowed us to raise $20 million. So you don't have, it's not like you have to have a PhD in what you're doing. You just there's different resources out there, but there's also just, you pay attention to how people are setting things up and you set it up about the same way.
Okay. I was going to ask, how did you learn raising? How did you learn how to raise private money?
I was definitely scared of getting up in front of groups. And I was at an event, and this young gentleman who is a business partner today said, "Hey, you should come pitch at our events." And I was like, "No, you know what? I really don't have the gift. I just don't have the right product. I don't have this. I don't have that." There's all kinds of excuses.
Right. Sure.
They're like, no, really come and do this. So I went and did it. The first week I did it, I raised $500,000.
You're a natural. You didn't know it.
So it's definitely a gift to get up. It's definitely a gift because of your pain is your gift.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever pain you have in life, it's your gift. And I've had a pain around debt. It's been very destructive in my field of business. And it's, at times it's, dealing with predatory lenders and dealing with just lenders that you don't have to do anything wrong. Like I said, you can have a debt partner that comes in and loans you on a property, and you're 12 months in, and let's say that for whatever reason, the permit took 6 months to get, and you got a 12-month loan. If your term is 12 months and that comes up, some of the times they'll extend it, but not always.
Right.
So if they don't extend it, you're in default. And then the moment, and so, and then they start throwing words around, it's like somebody calling you a liar. That's what the word default is, right? It's
right.
Like you've lied or you've done something. Well, you don't have to do anything.
You're not fulfilling your,
right? And so they throw the names around just because it creates a guilt and shame in us. And I just want people to know that there's a better way. You don't need to be in debt to somebody else. There are people that will invest in you. So that has been a pain point, and understanding that pain point creates the gift, right?
Right.
Because you go through it and you're like, I need to tell the world about this pain. And that's how people relate to you. I learned this early on by trial and error. And I've now seen the public speaking gurus, and they all say the same thing. In the first 30 seconds, you always want to tell something personally about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I will do is I will set a vision in whoever I'm talking to's mind of what I was going through. 7 years ago, I felt like I was lost. And I didn't have anybody. And I had lost $28 million. And I had this kid or young man just come up and say, "Hey, can I help you up?" And that's the kind of things you have to do. You have to tell something personal.
Right.
We were at an event 2 weeks ago, and they're like, "Yeah, you got to talk about the offer, and you got to talk." No, you don't have to talk about the offer. The offer is important. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But in the first 30 seconds, if I don't get you in a conversation, if I don't get a connection with you, John, then you're not investing in me. And investing is all about
100%.
connection. 100% connection.
Yep.
If the offer was so important, if all those things were so important, why isn't everybody's parents investing in them? So there has to be a connection. There has to be a story there. There has to be something, that hook. You have to have the hook. And
It's
so
capturing.
I always use a story, and I always have people come up after, whether I'm in front of 200 people or in front of 5. And you end up being the center of attention because they want to hear more about your story. I was at
Great story.
right? I was at an event once, and we were, this guy got up on the stage and he said, who in this room has lost $1 million? And, 80 people raised their hand, right? Out of 200. Right. Well, I bet you none of you guys have lost $5 million. And there's like,
And it keeps going up.
There's like 6. So I'm like this. I bet you nobody's lost $20 million.
And then they're
Right.
how funny.
And I bet you nobody's
story.
lost $30 million.
How high did he have to go?
I stopped before the real truth was, because I was just like, this. He used a bad analogy, and he probably should have never used that because he has no idea of people's mind. By the way, after that event, 6 people came up to me and were interested in my story. And at some point,
awesome.
Those people will invest.
Yeah.
And not only that, not only is it a connection, but listen, Bridgewater, Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio had a really traumatic event when he got into investing, bringing in other people's, lost millions and millions of dollars. And that story that he would tell about it is the reason why he was well known for bringing in billionaires' money. And at some point that's all he did, is he brought people that were billionaires, and he would invest their money. And he had a track record of making 12 to 15%. I mean, he was just consistent, right?
Yeah.
And people did very well with him. But I think the reason why they did so well with him is because he'd been through the pain. It was his pain. Like, it was that thing that, it's like the cancer of our, why did everybody like Lance Armstrong? It's the same kind of thing. Like, it was his pain.
Pain made him great.
His pain is his message.
Yeah,
Testicular catheter, and that message just took off. I mean, it was just a amazing thing. So, I just found that that's how you make it work.
Yep. That's so awesome. Before we run out of time here, let's talk real quick about the mistakes people are making with debt.
The mistakes that people are making with debt is they borrow debt on speculative assets. And you can make a lot of money, don't get me wrong. But the people that are lending to you, or the people that you are buying their courses, have a different proposition than you do. Robert Kiyosaki, what I'm trying to think his last name.
Kiyosaki.
Yeah, Kiyosaki. He talks about debt and how it's his friend. It is his friend, but it's not necessarily your friend.
Right. Why is that?
Because he's worth millions and millions of dollars. His revenue stream is coming in from his books and from his seminars and all those things. And so he has outside revenue that's coming in. If for whatever reason his real estate doesn't work out, or something doesn't work out, he has attorneys and lawyers, and he set it up all right, and he can afford to fight the banks. Trump had a good analogy. He said, when you borrow $1 million, you have a problem. But if I borrow $1 billion, the bank has a problem. So when somebody's big, it's just a different perspective, and they're not honest about what's really going on. So people will go out there and borrow, and they don't realize on speculative assets, it's going to take them twice as long. They're going to go over budget by 30%. And so they have to be able to work through those issues up front and what systems are in place. Yeah. And it's better to go out and raise equity from your friends, your family, from associates or whatever, and do it on equity. If debt is a great product for your personal home, if you want it that way, because your personal home is also your personal asset. There's a difference between between the debt note and the property. And then it's great for cash flow properties in which you have rent. If I know I have rent of $2,100 every month, I don't think it's a big deal to, spend $1,200 a month. That's a no-brainer. Like, we would all do that. Right?
Right.
But when you have a speculative asset, you're not sure how long it's going to take. You have build costs that are going whenever or whatever.
Right.
And then you have a Federal Reserve that will completely destroy your business in a snap of a finger. It's like, why do it? And there's a better way.
Well, cool. If folks on here want to get in touch with you and talk more about this, I mean, we could probably keep going for another 30 minutes, but unfortunately I don't have the time. How do they reach out? How can they get in touch with you?
Best way is by email, Mike H at luxlivinghomes@gmail.com, or another great way is through our website, luxlivinghomes.net. Those are the best two ways. I'm on LinkedIn.
Cool.
I'm on social media. LinkedIn, I probably on more than normal. So.
Okay, cool. We'll put all that stuff in the show notes, guys. I hope you guys, enjoyed the show and took some good notes. Mike, thank you for coming on and sharing some information. And we'll see you guys all in the next one. Cheers.
Take care, John.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.